Last night we've been talking about cancer a little bit. Today we'll continue on with the cancer. So cancer cell is a normal cell which is what? Altered in its genes, right? So cancer cell lose its own original characteristics, right? Which God put in. And last night we talked about 3 different characteristics. Number 1, the normal cell communicate each other, right? And they share each other. Cancer cells don't do that. Cancer cell lost that program. Their gene does not function that way. Okay. And the cancer cell, normal cell love to have a well-balanced nutritional supply. Cancer cell does not care about it. The cancer cell, whatever comes, they love it. Okay. And also, normal cell, they are what? In order. They keep the order. So that's why they forms what? Layer and layer. Cancer cell, when they come in contact, they do not keep the order. Therefore what? They fight, they make mess. Okay. And so, and also another very important characteristics is that the cancer cell does not produce certain very important protein which all normal cells produce. Let me show you what it is. Okay, this is human genome, the gene map. Okay, look at chromosome 17. There is a p53 gene which produces what? Tumor. Let me magnify a little bit more. Tumor what? Tumor suppressor protein. So all normal cell in your body has that p53 gene which will produce tumor suppressor protein. Okay. So as long as your normal cell produces this tumor suppressor protein, your cell will not go to cancer cell. So this is important protective protein. Actually, you can see here chromosome 17. There's a BRCA1 protein is produced by this gene. BRCA1 gene means this is again a name of protein which will what? Which will protect your breast cell to become cancer cell. So the reason why you have certain type of cancer is number 1, your cell do not produce what? This tumor suppressor protein. Therefore, like in case of lung cancer, colon cancer, and this colon cell, lung cell, liver cell become what? Cancer cell. So this p53 genes produce the tumor suppressor protein, constantly telling the cell what? You know what? We need to be normal, right? It's no fun to be a cancer cell, So it's suppressing them. And suppression is not really a good word, really. It's a kind of worldly word, and so it's keeping the normality, right? So, and this too, this gene produces this BRCA1 protein, which is specifically suppressing your breast cell become breast cancer cell. Okay. Since breast cancer is very, there's so many patients, it is also politically important cancer. Okay, so U.S. government spend a lot more money for breast cancer than other diseases because, if you don't do that, they're not going to vote for you, right? So breast cancer receive a lot of attention. That's why there's a whole lot more information, new information came out about breast cancer. And look at the same thing here. When this gene goes wrong, you have a pancreatic cancer, right? So it's all those other diseases. Okay, there's so many things. Let's see. You saw the obesity gene, right? And malignant melanoma gene, and Alzheimer's disease. There's a lot of diseases you really don't even know, right? And so many different kind of diseases. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's focus on the cancer. And scientists become so much interested in this p53 gene lately. They're really focusing on this gene, and they're trying very hard to figure out what does this tumor suppressor protein do? So it can suppress for the normal cell to become cancer cell. See, what are they doing really? You know what they found out? This tumor suppressor protein is not. It doesn't do any kind of complex work. Only thing it does is make your cell rest periodically. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Periodic cyclic rest. In other words, this p53 gene produces this tumor suppressor protein, and this protein is keeping biorhythm. Biorhythm. See? And active and inactive. Active and inactive. In other words, active and rest. Active and what? Rest. So there is a resting cycle. What kind of biorhythm you know? Yeah, like your menstrual cycle, right? Every 20 days cycle. You don't even have to remember, right? Are you doing menstruation by remembering, oh, let's do it today? You know? This is day. No, you don't do it. Yeah. There is a program already built in, right? And you don't even have to remember which day it's going to be on, right? It'll be on, right? Yeah. And so this kind of thing we call biorhythm. Everything has its own rhythm, okay? But most important rhythm for us is, number one, we call it the circadian rhythm. That means 24-hour cycle rhythm, okay? So that rhythm follows what? Follows sunrise and sunset, it follows. So when you understand the rhythm, you'll find out we are not an independent being. See? Our health belongs to the natural rhythm. You know that? So our health is nothing separated from natural phenomena. So if you want to be really optimally healthy, you need to follow that what? Natural rhythm God has put in. Okay. So there's a sunrise and sunset, sunset and sunrise rhythm. See? So as the sun is setting, your cell is beginning to produce a little bit more tumor suppressor protein. See? Then when p53 gene is very active, then you're producing a lot of tumor suppressor protein. Then your cell really slow down. And in the resting stage, your cells still have to work though, you know, but it is much inactive and sort of resting, slowing down. You know. So even though you're sleeping, your body still works, right? So it doesn't mean your total shutdown happens, no. So the rhythm of the work is just goes down. And why do we need this kind of resting period? Why? Why do we need resting period? Resting cycle. Okay, there is a 24-hour cycle like that. Then scientists found out, scientists call it the circa-septan rhythm. Circa-septan. Circa means cycle in Latin. Right? Circa-septan, let me write down for you. Oops. Circa I here, DN. That means 24 hour, okay? Circadian rhythm. And another one is circa septan. What is sept? 7, right? So every 7-day cycle. Yeah. So 7-day cycle is not arbitrary cycle. 7-day cycle is already what? Built in your system in all other living creatures. Yeah? See? So 7-day cycle is nothing that somebody made it artificially. 7-day cycle is as God created this whole world, see? And He already put what? The principle of the rest in you and in everything. See? So, when I found this out, I was very curious if there is any living creature still keep this what? 7-day cycle, I was so curious. Since I'm traveling all over the world, everywhere I go, I'm raising this issue, I'm curious, do you know anything keep the, 7-day cycle? Finally, I found in Brazil. Yeah. And I was giving the seminar to the ministers, ministerial retreat. And after I talk about this, then one minister stood up and said, Dr. Li, I'm from South Brazil, right? It's a very rural area, very clean, very much unpolluted, well preserved. And my father was an Adventist minister, and we had home church. The home was the church. So few people gather, on Sabbath morning, they worship, and they're done. Then always his father took him by hand and showed him the bird called, in English, I can't really pronounce it in French, but in English it's John, John is the name of the man, right? John of the mud. So this bird is constantly working with the mud. They go take mud and they build house, mud house. Every day. Every day they renovate, depending upon wind direction, Yeah. So every day he works. Every day he works on the house, except Sabbath day. Sabbath day, he sit on the branch and sing. And his father always pointed bird, said, son, see, even bird keeps Sabbath. So he didn't think of that much, important. But after listening to it, my lecture, it clicked. Yes, I still haven't seen that bird myself. Okay, I didn't have time to go down there and to see that bird keeping Sabbath. Another time, when I went to deep in the country, it was another ministerial retreat in the campground, and it was a very rural area. And so on Sabbath day, they asked me to preach on local church. So a lot of local Brazilian people came, and I gave a lecture about Sabbath. I call it the theobiology of Sabbath. Why Sabbath is important biologically, okay? And and after the sermon, a pheasant came to me He couldn't speak English. So he said, he was very eager to talk to me, so he was looking for a translator. So translator I called, and you know what he says? He was excited. He knows there's a honeybee keeping Sabbath. Yeah. Honeybees working hard every day, right? But on Saturday, they don't work. I said, where are they? It takes about 3 hours from here. I said, let's go. So we got on the car and went into the deep mountain. It took 3 hours. Dirt road, dust. Very, very primitive area, When I got there, there's a banana plant, a plantation, and all the people don't have any shoes, and there's no windows, they're just sort of muddy house, stone house, very primitive lifestyle. And then what do you call at the end of the roof? Huh? Yeah, end of the roof they hang the stump of tree about this long, and that was the beehive. They hung, and many of them, and quiet. I can't see any bees. So where's bees? There's bees inside that stump. Yeah. So all I can see is both ends of stump were sort of sealed with mud, okay? And then in the center, there was a hole. And they said, put your ears. So I put the ear at the hole, and I can hear bees. But I couldn't. I wanted to see them. So I asked them, could you sort of break open, that mud seal, at the both end, But this guy was so kind, okay. So he picked up the stone and he began to bang on, and the mud was falling down, and the bee inside were very scared, They flew out, I was like, so I said, woo! I said, no problem, quiet, they don't sting you. They don't sting you. I said, how come they don't sting you? They don't even have a stinger. Wow. So I thought that was the Garden of Eden honeybee, Because in Garden of Eden, you didn't need what? Stinger. So as sin entered, right? Bee needed to protect their own food, So they need a stinger. According to the need, gene changes, right? And so in that environment, there's such a pure environment. And these bees did not need to protect their beehive, see? Yeah. What so I could see there's a bee inside when he opened, Wow! And they all came back, and they were quiet. So I stayed there for almost 3 hours, and the bees were just staying home. Next day, I was very curious, Sunday morning, right? Let's go. So we drove 3 hours again. I was so curious, And I was there, and wow, they're working. Everybody's working, flying around, Wow. So, that honeybee. So then I was so curious. If I wasn't sure whether any sort of entomologist knows about it. So I got into the internet in an entomology section, Stanford University. You know what? They know about it. There are honeybees in the Panama area, and somewhere in other some areas of the South America, there are honeybees keeping 7-day cycle. Okay. However, They didn't say which day. They only said there's bees circa septum, the keeping circa septum rhythm. See? All right. I'm so sorry that they didn't say which day, but it's not any day. They know, even though they don't have a calendar, they know which day is resting day. See? Very interesting. See? And so the cycle is already built in. We have that cycle built in, but because of our sin, right? Because of what? Those other honeybees needed to have what? Stingers and everything else. There's lots of alteration happened. Throughout these processes, we sort of what? Don't remember the 7-stage cycle. See? So we need to be reminded. That's why we have 10 Commandments. So this 7-day cycle is biologically very important, particularly to prevent cancer. Okay? Particularly to prevent cancer. Why? Because cells requires periodic rhythmical rest. See? Why? Because last night I showed you the DNA repair mechanism, right? You remember? The 3 guys, fireman, right? Repair guy, and the other guy, right? These 3 genes produce the 3 different proteins. They get activate and work only when you what? When you're resting. See? So repair, the healing process happens in the rest. See? Why? There's another principle, okay? Cell divide. For you to have a proper healing, let's say when you have a cancer cell in your body, to be healed, you need to produce more what? T cell or natural killer cell to destroy the cancer cell, right? So you need to have this multiplication of these good T cells, right? Good immune cells. For the multiplication of the cell, you need to be in resting period. See? Okay, the healing process requires multiplication. At the same time, growth. To grow bigger, taller, requires what? Multiplication of the cells. See? So, to for your cell to multiply, you need growth hormone. Okay? Growth hormone. So when growth hormone is produced, then your cells multiply. Like some people, even though they're in the mid-70s, they look like early 60s. Some people who are in early 60s, but they look like in mid-70s. See? They look different. You know what kind of difference they have? When scientists check the blood, those people who look younger has much higher production of the growth hormone. That's why there is a therapy developed, growth hormone therapy. So actually doctors give growth hormone injections, so then they begin to look very younger. I don't think it's a good idea though. Yeah. It's what? It is just like this. When women take estrogen, they have what? Cancer, right? Breast cancer, uterine cancer. Why? Because women need estrogen. Why then they have cancer? What is too much then? What is too much? It is, let's say, many women have a breast cancer. Lots of cancers are what? Caused by overstimulation from what? Estrogen hormone. Okay? So those breast cancer cell has what? Receptor for the what? Receptor, estrogen receptor. So you can actually, scientists can actually take out breast cancer cell, actually test how many receptors, the estrogen receptors they have on the surface of the breast cancer cell. Okay. So if you have a lot of receptors, then the scientist says, doctor says, oh, your breast cancer is estrogen sensitive, breast cancer. So that's why you need to take what? Some kind of blocker, estrogen blocker. So estrogen cannot stimulate leftover cancer cells, right? Like a medicine called what? Tamoxifen, right? Yeah. Tamoxifen is an estrogen blocker. And my question is, every woman produces estrogen, right? Then why estrogen is causing cancer, right? Yeah. You remember the story about Ayla. Ayla, you remember what Ayla is? Ayla? Huh? You forgot about it? Let's see, Ayla. A-L. Anybody remember this? This substance, Ayla? Don't you remember we had a crisis with the Washington apple? At that time, all Washington apple had to be dumped, right? And discarded. Why? Because they sprayed Ayla. This is actually the insecticide used as insecticide. Okay. Okay. But you know what Ayla is? Ayla is insect growth hormone. Do you know how growth hormone kills insect? It actually helps insect to grow bigger. Do you know, then why do they use this Ayla? To kill them? They give high concentration, too much. Spray them, then you know what happened? This insect grow quick and die. That's all. So they what? They accelerate growth time and then kill them. Okay. So it's not really poison. So it is poisonous because it is what? Too much. Too much. Too much. Yeah. So too much growth hormone is bad. So that's why too much of anything is bad for you. Except only one thing. Too much of love is no harmful. It's okay. Yeah. But other than love, anything too much is harmful for you. Even though, you see, like you produce thyroid hormone. If it is too much hypothyroid, you have big problem, right? So somehow, when you are overproducing the estrogen, then you need is a problem, okay? But now, then those women who has estrogen-sensitive breast cancer, they always overproduce. Then how much is overproducing, see? My question is this. The woman never had breast cancer. Then she had the menopause, okay? Menopause came at age 47. Then there was some flushing, some postmenopausal symptoms, right? And woman began to take estrogen. Why? Because doctor figured what? You are not producing enough estrogen. That's why you have flushing. So what's wrong with what? Supplementing estrogen because you what? You're not producing. With that supplementation, later on what? 12 years later, woman finds breast cancer. Okay? Estrogen-sensitive breast cancer. Why? So that was my question. I was, that's strange. Why? Because having hot flashes and having postmenopausal symptoms per se already tells you that you need what? Estrogen. See, many other women do not have the postmenopausal symptoms. That many other women, they say, I never experienced the hot flashes. Those women, they keep on producing what? The estrogen needed. Could you raise hand, even though you're after the menopause, you never experienced? Yeah, Vicky. Is Vicky only one? It figures, though. Yeah. Yeah. See. There are many women like that. See. It was my impression that among Caucasian women, like in England, Germany, I asked them around all over the world. And if there is 100 women after menopause, about 30% of them never experience. I thought, Patty, but you had a bad time? Okay. And, but when I come back to Korea and go to China, Japan, I asked them to raise hand, only 5%, So Oriental women are having much more what? These postmenopausal symptoms. Then one time I had a very special occasion to have a New Start program with kindergarten owners in Korea. Because two kindergarten owners had breast cancer, and they came to Weimar at that time, and their breast cancer completely healed. So they're so excited, and they say that we need to teach New Start to kindergarten, So to educate our children, we need to educate the kindergarten owner, right? And so on, so on. So they organized. The two of them, just like Vicky and Patty, And they did. So I had 100 kindergarten owners. And they're all almost 49, 50, 51, 55, something like that. Right? And almost all is after the menopause. So in general population, it was only 5% never experienced the symptoms, postmenopausal symptoms. You know what? Among those Korean kindergarten owners, it was shocking. 70%. Guess why? For you to understand this, let me tell you this. Those animals who live in the group, right? The social animals, right? Because they have hierarchies, right? And they have classes, and they know exactly where they belong to, Whether they belong to high class, low class, they all know. So they behave according to their own understanding. Particularly like Society of the wolves, right? Monkeys and deers, they all have their hierarchies. They all know. And just like a human society, but there's always they always found out, this dominant male. They always look great, They look strong. They look sort of brave. They look sort of they have their they have their own dignity, like that, But you know what? Scientists were interested. They have much beautiful hair, shiny hair, and so they were trying to check. So they draw blood. You know what they found out? They are the one who has a higher level of growth hormone. Yeah, they are the one who has. So that means their growth hormone gene is what? More active. and they have more, higher level of testosterone. Yeah, more sex hormone too. That's why they look strong, they look young, you know. And then there's always a young challenger, new, you know, fresh male, feeling strong, right? And you know, even in animal society, God appoints dominant male, you know. Because, you know, God appoints one male and he what? He makes him stronger. And then he feel like, you know, I can be dominant male, you know. I can be dominant male, you know. And so I can challenge. So he has that what? That courage. And then one day he challenges, you know. And if the original dominant male wins, no problem, no change. But finally one day, this young male challenged. You know, all they do is what? Deer. They don't scratch, they don't bite, you know, they don't injure each other. What do? They just push, you know. Yeah. That's all they do. So if you feel like you're being pushed, you're weaker, then you have to disengage and run away, right? So finally, the original dominant male felt, I am done. And he began to run away. You know what happened to that dominant male? The testosterone and growth hormone began sharply drop. The level in the morning and level in the afternoon become different. Low. What happened? Their testosterone gene and the growth hormone gene goes what? Depressed. Oh. Why? Because see, they're not injured. They never ate anything bad, right? But they have what? They're feeling. What kind of feeling? I'm over. My life is over. That's right. I'm done with my life. See? That feeling dominates your gene. You know that? Yes. So you have to be careful how to feel. Don't succumb yourself to the bad feeling, okay? Just because you feel bad, don't think it is that normal for you. Yeah. That's bad feeling. That's bad feeling came from wrong side. You know that? Don't just, I don't feel bad. I don't feel good anyway. You know? That's not true. So, this is what happened. So then once that young male challenged and he has victory, then his testosterone and everything what? Shoots up. Yes! You know. That's why, like, you know, sports, right? This kind of thing can be good sometimes, you know. Like in Korea, you guys don't know, in America, you know. The last year we had the World Cup, right? Yeah, World Cup, and Korea wanted so bad to be number 16. 16th, 1 in 16th. You know, 16 strong, right? And that was our thing. Oh, we wish it would be one of the 16. Then we found out we become 16th, right? One of 16. Then next time we become one of the 8. Then a few days later we become what? One of 4. Wow, it was a national, you know, enthusiasm. I think on that day many Korean men's testosterone shoot up. Yeah. It was exciting, you know. See, this United States is too big to enjoy that kind of thing. You know? Because if you go to smaller countries, every small thing is a big deal. You know, but in this country it's so huge, and nothing is a big deal. So that's one kind of disadvantage. That's why it is important for you to be engaged in what? So minor league, right? And high school football, you know, that's all, yes, you know, so on, and that's good. And so that's why we need to see. But however, those kind of joy, once it happens, and next day it doesn't mean anything. Right? Why? Because it does not have original meaning. That meaning is like the artificial meaning. We made up each other. See? So we made up the rule, said that if you can kick the ball into the net, you know, you win, right? So we made up that whole, you know, script, right? So we need the rule. So, but that's why when you win at that moment, it's really powerfully stimulating for your genes. However, when it's done, right? Next moment, nothing. See? But you know what? The meaningful victory, right? Those things are not really meaningful victory. You know what the meaningful victory, which can last and last and so memorable? And every time you think about that victory you experienced, you have more endorphin comes, right? You have more growth hormone. You know what kind of victory is that? That's a spiritual victory. Yes. Yeah. Especially when you what? Forgave your wife. When you know, and and then whenever you go back to that, oh yes, God helped me, God was with me, you know. So that's why it is important to be a Christian, and then to be dependent upon Him, and then struggle with this noise, right? And then overcome. And that really gives you the boost, right? Now, your hormone is necessary when you have that boost, right? But you know what? When something is unneeded, then you think you need, but then you have it as a supplement, then it is too much. See? When is that? See, so let's go back to the postmenopausal symptoms. You know, applying this principle, which I was talking to you about deers and so on. Why do you think certain women do experience, certain women don't? See, because you know, postmenopausal symptoms can even come when you're in 20s. In case what? Suddenly doctors found that there's some tumor in the ovary, so they have to what? Take it out, or both ovaries, then you don't produce estrogen. Therefore, even in your 20s, you have hot flashes. So then you take estrogen, it goes away. So hot flashes and those symptoms are definitely due to what? Lack of estrogen. Okay, there's no question about that. Okay, but when then why? Like in case of Vicky was still what? Estrogen gene was still working, even though she's after menopause. Why the majority woman, you know, as menopause comes, the estrogen gene depresses and do not produce a sufficient amount of estrogen as much as you need. See? So you end up having hot flashes. Why? We have answer already. Don't you? See? So let's go back to the kindergarten honors, okay? See, in Korea, only 5% women do not experience. However, kindergarten honor, 70%. Why? See, they never, even though they already experienced a few years ago, experienced postmenopausal symptoms, yet they do not feel their life is what? Over. Why? Because they feel that educating the little boys and girls are what? Very meaningful thing to do. I think so. We all agree, right? Yeah. So that's why being engaged in meaningful work is very helpful for you. Really. Spiritually and physically. You know what? You know candy stripes, right? Candy stripes. Do you know candy stripes live longer? Statistically? Yes. Yeah. And the candy stripes get sick less. See? Why? Because it's exercising love. You know. That's why when Peter asked me, Dr. Li, how about having a pet, dog? I said, that's good. It is even good to take care of little plants. Men don't understand this, right? Peter never understood this, but now he's figuring out. What a spark, right? Yeah. So Peter is now catching the glimpse to how to get out of this what? This impasse. See? Yeah. Yeah. Now he find out there is a way. The way is what? Love. Exercising love, right? Then you begin to feel the meaning. See? So this woman, love, they play, they sing together. They think it's meaningful. Okay, why those 30% of kindergarten women still experienced their estrogen genes depressed? Huh? That's right. They say, oh boy, it's a drag to be with all these little kids. What a headache. Same work, different what? Meaning. Different meaning. Yeah. Isn't that meaning powerful? Right? Yes. Yeah. So, if you stand up again, okay, now I find how to live. Is what? Most important thing in my life is what? Loving others. Once you make up your mind, then your life changes, right? Your life changes in front of you. See? If you constantly say, I'm so unfortunate, I don't know why I'm so sick like this. Nothing changes. Okay. If you want to be healed, you need more spark, right? To have more spark, you need to love someone. You need to take care of somebody. Yeah. Then God will give you spark to be able to love, to be able to forgive. See? Yeah. Yeah. Then, as you do that, you begin to be more vitalized, and you begin to feel the life coming back to you. Life is love, after all, see? So, what a shocking thing. They do the same job, right? According to how they, what? Put the meaning on it. Your biological response is different. Right? So, it is very important for you to, wow, God gave us what? Seventh day, what? Cycle. Instead, what? Is tomorrow Sabbath? Oh boy, it's a drag. Oh boy. I can't watch television, Yeah. This is a terrible thing, Yeah. You know what Sabbath is, but it's it's already death Sabbath. Sabbath has Sabbath which has no life in it. You know. See, that's why, Jews, Pharisees are keeping Sabbath, but it wasn't Sabbath keeping, but they thought they kept the Sabbath best. Yeah. You know what Sabbath of the Jews were? Don't do anything Sabbath. Do you know what Jesus' Sabbath is? Do good Sabbath. Jews don't do. Jesus says what? Do. It is important. What kind of thing you do on Sabbath is important. But for Jews, what not to do is more important. See, totally different meaning of the Sabbath. Different meaning of the Sabbath. See? Yeah. So, even though you're Seventh-day Adventist, you think you're keeping Sabbath? Think about yourself. Are you really enjoying the meaningful Sabbath, or this is what? Okay, I didn't do anything bad on Sabbath. God can't say anything to me, because, okay, is there anything wrong I have done? See? That's not the relationship. That's not the relationship. And so that's why our cells keep this cycle, very important cycle. Okay? That's why it is important. I was so excited. Why you have to go drive 3 hours of dirt road to see that what? Honeybees, But it is so meaningful to me. Yeah. If you don't have any meaning, okay, or do they keep Sabbath? Fine, Okay. I guess they don't watch television on Sabbath. But I believe in God. I believe in Creator, and He is not just simply religious God. He is what? He is the God of Creator. He created bees that way. I want to see that. In that sense, the bee, even honeybee, has the same father I have. Right? What a meaningful understanding of the world we live in, right? See, this really invigorates you, see, and activate your gene, because the way you look at the world, the way you look at all these creatures is so different, See, that's why it is very important to know Creator as Creator. See? Yeah. Then it really, everything becomes so meaningful. Yeah. Okay, so as you rest, as your cell rests, then the repair mechanism is activated. All this fireman protein is produced, and this worker protein is produced, and it repairs all that damage which was created by what? Stress and the superoxide radical, right? And every time you have a quality rest. What is quality rest? What is quality? What is empty rest? What is quality rest? Empty rest is you don't do anything, but you're bored because you don't do anything. Oh, it's bored, but actually resting is so boring. Then you have extremely poor quality rest. Why it is boring? Why resting is boring? Because resting you have no good meaning on the resting. Therefore, it is good to rest because resting is what? Meaningful to you. The only way resting can be so meaningful is what? You are resting, and now God is working to repair your gene. Believing that, right? Now you know how resting is so important. See, whenever Sabbath comes, Sabbath is the most busiest day I have, I have. So, however, if there's any time for me to rest on Sabbath day, I say, look at it. There's a 5-year-old boy or 4-year-old boy. Can you tell him, John or Bobby, go to your room and rest? Is he going to have a quality rest? No. Where is he going to have a quality rest? Mommy, I want to sleep in your what? In your arm. Yeah. What a rest. See? It is a highly charged rest, isn't it? You rest in the arm, in the love of your mother, right? Isn't there anywhere else so restful? See? You know what Sabbath is? Sabbath day is only day. God says, I bless that day. Bless means what? It's highly charged with a high voltage spark. See? Right? So I say, so even though I lay down on the lawn, on the grass, or I just lay down on my couch, I say, oh God, touch my genes with your power, the blessing you put in this day. What a meaningful, highly charged rest, right? Yes, because its meaning determines whatever happens in your genes, see. So, knowing God who is the creator, and it is that creator said, rest on Sabbath day, because I made that day holy. And I gave what? Blessing into that day. And that means what? You're resting in the arm of your mommy, your grandma. See. So, believing in that kind of credible truth, right, is so beneficial to your gene. Why? Because your genes respond to the meaning. Yeah, meaning. Good meaning. Good responses. That's why, nothing else is more important than what? Than this kind of truth. Wow. Yes, I now know the truth, right? Yeah. So that's why it is important to have what? Repair of the damaged gene by resting. If you're busy, your cell is busy working hard, your gene has to be in 100% use, right? Your gene has no time to be repaired. It is just like when your car needs repair, and you keep on driving the car and asking and keep on calling your repairman and says, auto mechanic, please repair my car. What is he going to say? Would you please park, come in and park, and leave your car in my hand? Otherwise, it cannot be repaired, right? See? So I call Sabbath commandment parking commandment. Okay? Yeah. So important. Yeah. So that's why Sabbath rest is more important, more meaningful, more charged than resting any other day. Right? Yeah. That's it. Other day, we decided which day to rest, right? But it is the day God made a decision to rest this, so that God put His blessing on it, into it. See, God made that time and space holy. Wow. Yeah. So this P53 gene I call Sabbath gene. Okay, because that's why when P53 gene is active, then it produces tumor suppressor proteins, and when tumor suppressor protein is produced, and cell can what? Rest according to the will of God, isn't it? According to the spark. Okay, and so that's why even resting, is so much what? Fun. Yes. So I love this kind of new concept on Sabbath, which is what? Totally scientific concept, right? And so that's why I call it the theobiology of the Sabbath day. And so cancer cell lost Sabbath. Because their P53 gene does not function, does not work. Therefore, they cannot rest periodically. They keep on up and puffing and working. See? That's why cancer can develop very easily with the people who relentlessly worries and relentlessly what? Angry and relentlessly busy. See? I am very busy person, okay? Very busy. Can you imagine, 6 o'clock, I go for the walk too, and then come back and take shower, quick, and have breakfast, and then, and then give lecture. Then immediately after lecture, what? I'm going to counseling, Immediately after counseling is done, I have to have a lunch, right? Then after lunch, I have to counseling again, Then if I'm done by 3 o'clock, then I have 30 minutes to rest. Okay. So sometimes I need to pray, oh God, I'm tired. Could you put me in sleep? Then I wake up, it's 3:30. I say, thank you, then I come. Last night God thought I needed a little bit more than 30 minutes. See? Yeah. And then I am so refreshed. Yeah, so refreshed. And so it is because of sparks. Your mitochondria are what? Producing more energy. That's why you don't feel tired. See? So the spark, that's why understanding the truth and able to be what? Communicate and let you know and enjoy together, right? And that is really the biggest spark. So that's why no one can be really healthy without knowing the truth. Yeah. Because everything else, diet and exercise, water and everything else is important. But it's only what? Foundation. But then the flower, that's what? That's spark, right? Then you have a flowering, fragrant health rather than dry health, right? So, so cancer cell is the cell which is unable to rest. And scientists found something extremely interesting. Okay. In the past, the scientists sort of figured that the cancer cell is much more dominantly powerful over what? Normal cancer cell. That's the way they believed once. So they wanted to really prove their point. So they put in the same test tube the normal healthy cell, like a normal healthy liver cells and the cancer cell together. So they put it in the laboratory and they cultured them to find out how soon normal cell can be what? Overwhelmed by cancer cell. Why? Because that kind of thing happens in what? Normal patient, right? Yeah. because normal cancer cell influenced by cancer cell becoming gradually what becoming cancer cells, right? Yeah, and the cancer cells spread and normal cell still dies, So they thought cancer cell is definitely more dominant over the normal cells. What a surprise! Few days later, they took out the test tube. You know what they found out? All the cancer cell became what? Normal cell. It was the other way around than they believed. They said, this is incredible. Why? How this happened? How this is happening? That's how they found the P53 gene. Like they did this. So they figured, maybe normal cell is producing something, right? To convert cancer cell back to what? Normal. At that time, they didn't know the mechanism of DNA repair, See? The fireman and all those good protein, which repairs damaged genes. So they put in test tube here, and they put normal cell, no cancer cell. Okay. Then they cultured, and they had some product. So they thought in this product there is what? Some kind of substance which can convert cancer cell back to normal, right? And then they prepared another test tube. Now, at this time, they had the cancer cells. So they put these substances into this test tube, expecting what? Expecting those cancer cells is going to go back to what? No, nothing happened. Normal cell didn't produce anything to recover the cancer cell. Then they had another test tube here. They had a normal cell, okay, and they had cancer cell. Then they got some product, which is in green color, okay. Then they put this into, guess what happened? It worked! Yeah. Normal cell indeed produced something what? To recover the cancer cell. What a wonderful principle, right? Do you know what this means? We all need headache. We all need the problem husband. We all need the problematic wives, for us to what? Produce something to what? To recover them. Yeah. Look at her. You don't like it? You like it? Yeah. See? So when we are in what? In trouble, then we produce something totally unexpected, Yeah. But when we are, so,
So the medium that went into the middle one, that?
This one here?
No, the middle one, where you said that they just took the medium and put it back into the middle one. The product?
This one?
The product, no? That one where the arrow goes, the green arrow.
Yeah. So this is product, yeah. Product. A product that this normal cell produced. Okay? Okay. So when normal cells alone, they don't produce this green stuff. Okay? Yeah. Because what? Because they don't need to. They don't need to. The gene respond to the what? Need. Need. Yes. So it is, even though you are facing trouble in your life, you know what? That's what you what? Need. I'm sorry, but you need. You need. Isn't that a wonderful concept? If you are in trouble thinking what? I don't need this. I don't need this crap, right? Don't be that way, see? Then you are losing game, see? I don't need this cancer, you know. I don't need this kind of husband, you know. See? Looking back in my life, you know what? I had terrible craps, really. If I tell you in detail, you're going to be really flip, really. You know. And you're going to say, Dr. Shang Li, are you still alive? After that, really. Actually, I almost died, really. Yeah. Because of this tension and worry. And even though I used the extraordinary measure, I still had, you know, my heart was going. And I sometimes in the airplane, I was short of breath. You know why? My heart was not pumping. And I can feel it. I'm a doctor, you know. I can feel it. Wow, look at my heart. Because like this. You know, I have to be in CCU, really. I'm an internist, I know. I put all that kind of patient into CCU. But you know what? I know what's the problem. I eat healthy, I exercise every day. I know God, you know. And yet I have the problem. Why? Because I am not handling stress very well. See? So is that stress going to go away because I get into CCU? No, I knew that. And they're going to what? Suppress my heart not to do that, right? I didn't feel it was really necessary because, you know, because suppressed and I have still stress, you know. My heart really trying to accommodate that stress, right? And now my heart don't know what to do. So I knew I'm not going to die, you know, due to this, you know. So I just, you know, it was so interesting. So at that time we were doing a New Start program in Hilo, Hawaii, okay. And right in front of, our hotel was right on the water. So whenever I go to Hilo, the first thing I do is change into what? Swimming suit and jump into the ocean. You know. Before I go to the, okay, God, protect my heart, okay? Because when I'm swimming, you stop my heart. You know, if you know, don't take care of my heart, then, you know, I'm in the water, okay? I swim. Very interesting. Whenever I enjoy swimming, I love to swim in the wide open ocean. You know, everybody said shark. You know, so you know what I tell them? Shark don't like my meat. Why? Because this is vegetarian meat. You know? Yeah. And I said they don't even want to smell my meat. You know? So don't worry, you know. Really, you know. So I know my meat smells differently to shark. You know, there's no question about that. So I'm not just joking, you know. I believe that. So that's why even mosquitoes, they behave differently, you know. Yeah. Mosquitoes love the meat eaters' meat, you know, blood, yeah. They know exactly whether you eat meat or not, you know, whether you eat cheese or not, you know. They know, they are very sensitive to the smell, right? Yeah. So they know whom to go, you know. They love somebody's blood, you know, but they don't like my blood. You know. So It is all built-in protection, you know that? Yeah. You know, have you ever seen mosquitoes coming to the peaches? Have you ever seen mosquitoes coming to the apples? They don't like that smell, you know. All my body smell like apple and peaches and bananas, you know. Do you think sharks like bananas? So they dislike me. So, you know, I have no problem, you know. So, and I just, wide open ocean. You know, in the ocean, I prayed and prayed so many times. Because, you know, you go, like sometimes I swim about an hour away from the beach. So sometimes you can't even see the hotel. You know. If you go too far, then what happens? That because the Earth is round, right? And you see the hotel room barely, you know, because you're right at the surface of the water, right? So when the wave comes, you don't see anything but the ocean. And I lay down on the water. I sing. I say, "Oh, Father, he's not my son. He's your son. You take care of him." Then I sing. I pray. You know. During that time, my heart is very regular. So it was a therapeutic exercise. You know that? Yeah. You know, when I was doctoring, you know, internal medicine, I said, "Don't exercise, be careful." You know, when your doctors are worried about your heart rhythm, patient dies. Doctors are already scared, you know. So, no, that you be careful. You know, I had an old man, 72 years old man, who was a prime minister of Korea, and he had a multiple heart attack. Now his heart is not functioning. See? And the Seoul National University doctor said, "Do not even stand up. Yes, stay in the bed." Yes, if I were non-Christian physician, I could tell him that, because reviewing his record, I was scared too for him to work, you know? You know what happened? See, he was a prime minister, he was a secretary of the Justice, okay? Department of Justice. His name is 이한기 장관, 이한기 총리. Dr. Li, he's also. And one of the Korean pastor, very well-known pastor, loved this New Start program. He has diabetes, and he strongly recommended for him to come to Weimar. You know. But the doctor says, "You can't go. You're gonna die in the airplane." His wife is about 20 years younger, and wife was upset about the whole situation. See? But this man was on the bed 24 hours a day. So you know what he said? She said, "Honey, you want to die on the bed? Or die in the airplane? Or die at the Weimar?" So he thought, dying in airplanes is better than on the bed, right? It's even better to die in Weimar. He said, "Let's go." What to lose, right? As far as he was concerned, both of them are concerned, he's already dead. He couldn't do anything. You know what? They came to Weimar alive. What a headache I had, you know. I had a big, huge headache as I was reviewing his record, medical record. I was scared. What if he dies here? And I found myself worrying about what? Dr. Shang Li's reputation. if that famous, well-known former ex-prime minister dies at Weimar, can you imagine what people will think? Dr. Shang Li killed him, right? This is going to be crazy, a lot of horrible impact. But I already recognize the ball is in my court. He's my ball, you know. Wow. I was genuinely afraid, you know. I was really worried about my own what? Reputation. And I recognized I'm in satanic what? Spirit. He is making me afraid. I went on the knee and said, God, save me. Save me from this worldly concern. You know, because according to the record, he could no way get on the plane. But he did, right? He got on plane, he spent what, 14 hours? And God kept him alive. So in my prayer, I was thinking like that. So there's definite purpose of God, right? Okay, Lord. And I woke up. Okay. I'm not going to worry about my record. If he dies, what? He dies. Okay. And since you protected him from Seoul to what? To Weimar. You know, from Seoul, like a 12 hours trip. And then from San Francisco airport to Weimar, it's another what? 2.5 hours bus trip, you know? He's alive. Okay, what to worry about? I said, walk. He could not walk, you know. Short of breath. And I need to convince him something, that even though he was 72 years old, his heart can regenerate. I didn't have a solid data, you know, to show him. And I prayed God, there's gotta be something. He studied theology, you know, Union in New York, Union Seminary, and he studied the law, and he's a prominent lawyer. So that day, I was going to UC Davis, you know, medical library periodically. So one day I went to UC Davis and I found a wonderful paper. They observed, you know, between 65 to 75 people, years old people, and with the exercise, their heart muscle can what? You know, function can be improved. Good. So I copied this and I showed to him. He said, he had the tears in his eyes. Thank you. Every doctor in Seoul National University said what? You're done. Yeah, you're done. Yes, you can improve. See, he was an atheist. I couldn't talk about God. But you know what? So he walked. 5 steps, he's too tired, too short of breath. So I had what? Assign 2 volunteers to what? To hold him, you know, as he walk. And his wife was carrying, you know, plastic basket, paint basket, you know, the 5-gallon basket, right? Yeah. And why? Because when he had to sit down, his wife put the basket behind him and he sat down. Every 5-6 steps we did that. I was sitting in my office looking at him. And my heart goes boom, boom. I said, oh Lord, he's not my patient. He's whose patient? Your patient. I'm scared. You know what? It was amazing. He loved the lecture. He began to see the glimpse of God. You know, he began to smile. He began to feel better, breathing easier. You know, then 3 days later, he was walking about 15 steps. 5 days later, he was walking about 5 minutes without resting. You know, a week later, he was walking about 20 minutes without resting. You know what happened after 2 weeks? He walks without resting half an hour. Yeah. Wow. And at that time, we were doing 3 weeks program. 3 weeks later, he had no problem walking 1 hour course. Coyote Creek, trail. No problem. He was elated. So we had a television interview with him. You know what he said? It is so wonderful to know God, he said. Yeah. God healed me. It was not the doctor saying me. And I heard his lecture, and I found God is touching my heart. Wow. Since then, he was healthy, Doing good. But unfortunately, 3 years later, he went to trip on Japan. So he couldn't go anywhere. But now he's healthier, and he took a lot of trip. In Japan, he slipped and he had a head injury, and he died there in Japan. And it was bad. But anyway, look, see, our normal cell can, with what? With cancer cell together. In the what? In where? In the laboratory. Okay? If your cancer cell can have normal healthy environment such as a laboratory environment, right? Clean air, clean water, there is no telephone calls, there is what? No mother-in-laws, whatever. Yeah. Now, so when normal healthy cell can have genuine what? Rest in normal environment. With a healthy diet, with water comes in, clean air and this and that, and normal cell now find the cancer cell. And normal cell is now enjoying what? Wonderful rest. But right next door, cancer cell goes huffing, puffing. The normal cancer cell is always what? They keep the loving principle, right? How come you're not resting? Cancer cell says, I don't know, I can't rest. I don't know, it's impossible for me to rest. Normal says, can I help you? If you could, So normal cell says, okay, I can produce a little bit more what? Tumor suppressor protein. Share it. Send it to cancer cell. And cancer cell receive that. And then it says what? So good. As cancer cell enjoyed the rest, God sent his spark. Finally, repairman, automobile what? Mechanic has what? His chance. Because this cancer cell now rest. That's why resting is important. That's why God says, remember the resting day, right? Yes, we need to remember. Yeah. So it is so wonderfully important. So normal cell produce this p53 protein, which is tumor suppressor protein, share with the cancer cell. Now, just one more point. Our stress is why it didn't happen in patient body.
Conditions weren't right. The environment wasn't right.
That's right. The condition is terrible. In patient body, cigarette smoke still coming in, still so disgusted, Yeah. Still irritated, angry, hopeless feeling, In the laboratory, there's none like that, right? So now, where cancer cell can do better? In the laboratory or in your body? In your body than laboratory? And your body is better than laboratory? That's right, Irma. With God's spark, it is much better in the body. Yes. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Yes. In the body, we can rejoice the truth and the love of God. Isn't it? Yes. Yes. Look, even in the laboratory, by simply removing negative influence alone can what? Can recover the cancer cell. How much more in your body receiving the power of life. Amen. You know. That's why in this program, many cancer patients say, yes! Yeah. Yeah. If it's real true, yes! Then that time, the floodgate of the spark has opened, right? He fixed. Yeah, that's right. This is how cancer is healed. Really? Yes. I have seen many, many situations like that. See? Yes. It is very sad for me that some people says, well, we don't accept cancer patients because we don't think this program can heal the cancer. That's very sad. Of course, that program may not be able to, heal the cancer, but God can, right? If there is a God in the program, cancer can be healed, right? See? Praise the Lord. Amen. Yes.